Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Shinrin Yoku, and Yurt Life, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, February 28th. February 29th is tomorrow, leap year at around 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. Texas wildfire becomes the second largest in state history, grows up to 500,000 acres. Holy macaroni. Keep calm. It's boom time. Historic winter heat wave smashes records in central U.S. and fuels tornadoes and hail. 6 states posted their highest February temperatures on record, as did more than 130 cities and towns, including Minneapolis, Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Detroit. And the hail map for Tuesday, February 27th was epic. 242,000, yes, 250,000 instances impacted with hail yesterday of 1 inch or larger. And it's not over. Thunderstorms, hail, then rapid freeze up in the Pennsylvania forecast. And storms with gusty winds and temperatures dropping behind that cold front. Thunderstorms along the eastern seaboard and a major winter storm to impact the west. A line of thunderstorms will continue to push across the East Coast Wednesday evening. A few of these storms may become strong to severe, with the main threat being damaging winds. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, another significant winter storm is expected to begin late Wednesday and last through the weekend, bringing record snow totals. It's actually a 1-2 punch over there on the West Coast, where we could see up to 10 feet of snow in the next 10 days for the Sierras. Could be quite epic. Wednesday and impacts include heavy mountain snow, heavy rain, gusty winds for most of the region. Winter storm watches and warnings up, as well as red flag warnings. Very windy in the center of the U.S. And that's what's driving those wildfires, which we'll get to in just a moment here. Let's take a quick look at the snowfall totals, shall we? And this is going to be good news for Texas, as moisture is moving through that wildfire area right there, right now, in the form of snow. So it's going to be cold and moist and damp, and that will help put out these fires. So we're looking at the snowfall Thursday through Friday morning. You can see that heavy snow is going to be moving down in the west there, Pacific Northwest, and into California by Friday morning. Meanwhile, before then, we should get some light snow across the Northeast, heaviest snow downwind, lake effects from, looks like Lake Erie or Superior there, and 1 to 2 inches for most of the Northeast, including Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Connecticut, or Massachusetts. So that's good news there. So let's walk it through for the weekend. Here is Friday into Saturday morning. You can see heavy snow, up to 4 feet of snow by Saturday morning will be in the Sierras near Tahoe, and we'll move it through Saturday. All day, heavy snow for the Sierra Crest, bringing record tilting numbers to many regions, as well as the northern mountains of California. And we're still not done with the weekend yet. Here is the end of the weekend. By Monday morning, snow will have moved through the entire northern Rockies from Colorado north into British Columbia and Alberta. And that is some heavy snow totals. We can move the models through here for till mid-March, looking pretty epic as far as the snow totals, which is good news because we hate droughts. Speaking of drought, Texas wildfire becomes the second largest in state history. This is mostly a grass and bushfire that is rapidly moving due to winds and dry conditions, which are ending tonight, which is good news there. Now, the fire grew to about 500,000 acres. The largest fire in Texas history was just right around 1 million acres, so this is just half of that size, albeit fast-moving and deadly. It has destroyed many homes and has claimed 1 life, as a nuclear weapons factory is forced to evacuate as the Texas wildfire threatens the plant. It could be bad news, but we'll keep a close eye on that. At least 13 homes burned in Oklahoma. Fires could burn for days, according to Texas officials, but apparently they didn't take a look at that weather forecast, which is good news there. A massive wall of fire moved through Texas Panhandle And you can see here at least 100 homes impacted in one county. Neighboring county officials said at least 100 homes have been impacted by the wildfires in neighboring Hutchinson County, according to Moore County Emergency Management Coordinator Tommy Brooks. At least 20 structures in the city of Stinnett, structures outside the Borger city limits, and quite a few structures in the city of Fritch have been destroyed, including homes, which is quite a sad story there. One death reported in that county. We do have a confirmed fatality from the Scotts area, Acres neighborhood in Stinnett. Hutchinson County Public Emergency Coordinator Deidre Thomas said, while Thomas didn't identify the victim, the family of Joyce Blankenship, 83, seen here, told CNN she died at her house in Stinnett as that fast-moving fire moved through. In fact, they didn't have any time in Fritch to get anything out or evacuate. Fritch residents say by the time sirens went off, it was too late to gather any belongings before evacuating, and for many, it was a total loss and a sad state of affairs. It's all she knows. A father describes heartbreak as his toddler cries for their incarcerated home, which, well, no longer exists here. Here you can see Tyler McCain's home was reduced to rubble as fire tore through Fritch, Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis. Now, Tyler McCain became emotional as he told CNN he and his family are living in limbo after fire reduced their home in the Texas panhandle town of Fritch to rubble and ash on Tuesday. But what's really gnawing at him is trying to explain the loss to his tearful 3-year-old. Hopefully they set up a GoFundMe and they get enough funds to get them a new home. And if you want to know more about the latest on the rapidly growing Smokehouse Creek fire in Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis, we will have links below. And our thoughts, our hearts, and our prayers go out to all those affected. Seismic update. Quite a few quakes of note. Most recently, a 3.8 in Discovery Bay, California, could be rattling nerves. 4.4 just kicked off in Ohara, Japan. Worldwide, nothing notable. The most notable is the 5.5 near Adak volcano in Alaska, so we're keeping a close eye on that. Multiple earthquakes in the Philippines, as happen every day, 5.4 with some aftershocks, and I'm sure Dutch since claimed that he predicted that. I do digress. Keeping a close eye on the Reykjanes Peninsula as we are waiting for the next phase of the imminent eruption. Doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe tomorrow in the next cycle of seismicity. Now, volcanic ash forces some airlines to suspend flights from Mexico City, and this is because of Popocatépetl. Yeah, Mexico City International Airport on Tuesday said airlines have canceled 22 domestic and international flights to carry out safety checks after planes encountered ash from the Popocatépetl volcano while flying towards the capital. Now, in a post on X, the airport says it remains open and operational as specialized teams and management remain on alert and are evaluating the ash conditions. The airport said at this time, the volcanic ash cloud is headed towards the Gulf of Mexico, but the winds do shift, and Popo has been putting on a spectacular display as we can see it erupting today here during the flight of AM 718 Bogota to Mexico City. Impressive view of the current eruptive activity there, and quite an uptick. As Liwotolol, also volcano in the lower Sunda Islands in Indonesia, alert status has been raised to 3 as lava flows on the southern section increase. So get out of Dodge. Now, a new paper coming out blows the lid on huge volcanic eruptions in recent times, and we're talking the Holocene. Lee and I are going to dissect this paper this weekend on our radio show and later on Magnetic Reversal News on YouTube on Saturday. Here's the paper. Submarine pyroclastic deposits from a 7.3 kiloyear caldera forming Kikai Akahoya eruption. And it was a big one, and we'll tell you just how big it was this weekend. Now, the Kikai Akahoya eruption, the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history, according to this paper, ejected more than 80 cubic miles of volcanic rock and ash off the southwestern coast of Japan 7,300 years ago. How do you like them apples? And that was quite recently as far as, well, human history. Space weather news update. We just had a long duration M flare in the low level M range, probably M1. Let's take a quick look at that and see if we can get some data here. I didn't really specify that. No. Yeah, it's looking like an M1. Yeah, long duration, but it did kick off a coronal mass ejection of pretty epic proportion. Look at the size of that plasma ball. Now, the good news, it's moving away from Earth and not towards us, but there are no good models out as of yet, so cross your fingers and stay tuned for the update tomorrow to get more information. Let me take a quick look at the WSA before we go. Well. Interestingly enough, the WSA Enlil solar wind prediction spiral is showing an event leaving the sun earlier today. Yeah, on the 28th there. So that could be another plasma filament I'm unaware about, but obviously coming at it the wrong direction. The other CMA came out this way and is not on the model currently, but it looks like we might get a glancing blow here on March 3rd, which could kick off some geomagnetic storm activity. Quite interesting. Let's go back and take a look at the 3-day geomagnetic forecast. It's looking all calm, but it doesn't take us into March 3rd, where there could be an uptick and a glancing blow. Now, AR3576, look at the size of this sunspot. It is set to return in just a few days. This is the visible side of the disk. The red regions are the backside, and you can see this massive, what appears to be a sunspot complex about to turn into view in just a few days. And so this is a big X-flare producer, and maybe when it comes around into view, we get a few X-flares shut off from 3576. We're going to keep a close eye on that as AR3590 getting closer towards the west limb. Him. All right, where are we? Scientists say dehydrating the stratosphere could be a plausible option to combat climate change. The only problem is climate changes naturally through climate variability. Natural climate variability has nothing to do with CO2 or man. And so I think our signals have been crossed here. But certainly dehydrating the stratosphere is a bad idea. That would lead to droughts, famine, and death. But apparently that's what this climate alarmist movement is actually striving for. Now, the new study explores the possibility of removing water from the air before it gets to the stratosphere, where water vapor acts as a greenhouse gas. Yeah, it's not CO2, it's water vapor that actually cools the earth, and they know it. Can you believe that? And they just came clean in the dumbest article ever. Now, what a major solar storm could do to our planet? Well, with the weakening magnetosphere, almost down 25, maybe even 30% at this time, and continuing to rapidly weaken in an exponential fashion towards the end game of zero sometime around 2045. Well, disturbances on the sun may have the potential to devastate our power grid and communication systems. When the next big storm arrives, similar to the Carrington event, we will not be prepared for it. But we've been imploring everyone who's been watching our channels for over the last decade to not be scared, but to be prepared. You should have been learning to grow your own food. You should have several years of dry goods set up so that in case of any eventuality, you can survive and thrive in the changing times. Bitcoin surges, briefly touching $64,000 for the first time since its all-time high of just above $68,000 back in November of 2021. Well, we told you all years ago what to do. And who knew? Well, now you do. Bitcoin has been beating gold by up to 500% over the last decade. If each and every one of you just put all of your savings into Bitcoin over the last 5 years, you would all be very wealthy. Unfortunately, many people thought that it was just a scam. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. Bitcoin has now been adopted by major financial institutions and is exploding because BlackRock and other banks that are providing ETFs now own almost 30% of all the Bitcoin. That means the price is going through the roof. So do yourself a favor. and make some money. We love each and every one of you. This is not financial information either, or this is simply a role-playing game. We love you. Be safe. Bye, Bitcoin.